struggles to love you by any means, baby. I'm here for you, are you ready to live your dreams, baby? The love you have for me made me know you're a queen, lady. Absolute, she knows just what a king needs. That's why she get what she received lately. Candlelit in this fireplace nights, stress relief. Every beautiful melody of hers is the best to me. All I want to do is treat you right. All I want to do is treat you right, baby. All I want to do is treat you right. All I want to do is treat you right, baby. All I want to do is treat you right. We're going through struggles to love you by any means, baby. I'm here for you, are you ready to live your dreams, baby? The love you have for me made me know you're a queen, lady. Absolute, she knows just what a king needs. That's why she get what she received lately. Candlelit in this fireplace nights, stress relief. Every beautiful melody of hers is the best to me.
Feel the pulse, feel the vibe, feel it in your heart.
Sunshine smiling warm up inside your heart. Feeling of pure love. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat. Dancing to the beat up inside your heart. Heartbeat of the world. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat. Jamaican heartbeat.
Jamaica,
Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat.
love it.
Heartbeat of the world, beyond compare, nothing like it anywhere. Share, eat and drink, we move and dance with you. No matter where you are, no matter where you're from, join in the party. You're welcome, you're welcome.
So me say greetings, welcome to one and all, to the land of ska, reggae and dancehall. Here we go beach, river and waterfall, and we have a lot of party when the night fall. Hold a vibe, eat something with a drink in your hand, rum beer, jerk chicken, roast fish, yellow yam. Them say we beat unique, so every boy, every girl come to Jamaica, the heartbeat of the world.
Jamaican heartbeat,
Jamaica,
can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat, heartbeat of the world.
Yeah, man. Welcome, welcome. Greetings, salutations. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us this fine Thursday afternoon. Beautiful day here, but I'm sure even much more beautiful in Jamaica. And that is what we want to talk about today. All things Jamaica relating to protocols, of course, going into details, making you aware. Welcome to the Midwest second session of the day. We are here to educate, innovate, and of course to communicate. So today, just some housekeeping matters I want to bring your attention to. You are not able to verbally participate because you're on mute, but you are able to use the chat box and ask your questions, make your comments, send your suggestions, and of course, even just to send your shout outs to the team as we go through this session today. I'm joined by my teammates, Mr. Chris Dobson, Jean-Pierre Webster, and Heather Beckno, sitting in Miami office. We look forward to giving you what you need to know. So I'm going to turn it over right now to Mr. Chris Dobson to take it away.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Thank you so much, Mr. Oral Chambers. And good afternoon. This is Chris Dobson from the Jamaica Tourist Board. I'm here to bring you some good Jamaican vibes to your day. Of course, I would have preferred to be at a nice remote beach in Jamaica at this time. But as you know, the global conditions that we're living in, we have to make these kind of adjustments. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today, this afternoon. And, you know, the spirit of one love from Jamaica to the USA is more important now than ever before. So on behalf of the Jamaica Tourist Board, we want to continue to wish you continued safety and good health to you, your family, your colleagues, your friends. These are the kind of vibes that we have to put out into the atmosphere to make the world a better place under these challenges. The Jamaica Tourist Board family throughout this has continued to demonstrate consistent, established support for you, the travel professional. So, talking about the Jamaica Tourist Board family, we just want to show you the members of the family of the USA Jamaica Tourist Board team, who's based here in North America. So whether you're in the Northeast region, the Midwest, the Southeast, the West Coast, Southwest, we do have members of staff at the Jamaica Tourist Board who is there to assist you. And our USA team is, of course, led by the Deputy Director of Tourism, Mr. Donnie Dawson. But we know that most of you who are joining us today are from the Midwest region. And your Midwest team, of course, comprises of these gentlemen here in front of you. I am Christopher Dobson, District Sales Manager for the Midwest, responsible for Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota. Mr. Sean Pierre Webster is a Business Development Officer, and he's in charge of the state of Missouri, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Central and Southern Illinois. And Mr. Oral Chambers, who's a Business Development Officer for Ohio, Michigan, West Virginia, and Western PA. Now, please make sure that you take our email addresses, do a screenshot, because our team is your current information resource. Any issue or assistance you may need at this time or any time, please don't hesitate to contact myself, Sean Pierre, or Oral Chambers. But with every team, we of course have a firm anchor who keeps us grounded and really make sure that the Midwest team flows very freely. And of course, that is Heather Beckner, who's our inside sales coordinator for the Midwest USA. And she is based in our head office in Miami. And her email address is there. And also, as a resource for additional information, please feel free to go to www.oneloveagents.com. Now, why are we here today? The reason we are here today is because of the borders reopening in Jamaica, and that started June 15, 2020, under a phase 1 reopening. So far, it has been going smoothly, and the airlines that have been flying to Jamaica are American Airlines, Delta, JetBlue, and starting in July, we'll be expanding to Southwest, Spirit, and United. So getting to Jamaica and having that air connectivity is very, very key for any destination that has to reopen. Now, we are reopening in a very safe and responsible manner. Jamaica is one of 3 top countries in the world to receive the World Travel and Tourism Safe Travel Stamp of Approval for comprehensive protocols for opening of tourism. We have, as you know, under phase 1, we have developed some very, very doable and safe protocols for health and safety. We have put them in place, and we have gotten input from all stakeholders in tourism, whether you're government, airport authority, the Ministry of Health, hotels, attractions, private sector, villas, transportation, etc. And we have all come together as one team to establish these protocols. because the goal of Destination Jamaica is to make sure that we have destination assurance. And this is to ensure health security and safety for not only the visitors, but also the Jamaicans who are always there to welcome them. Our plan is consistent with guidelines from the Ministry of Health, and this is to reduce future risk of infection, which will provide a higher level of safety and health security compared to any destination in the world. Most important in putting this doable set of health and safety protocols is training. Over 20,000 Jamaica tourism workers have been trained to implement all of these new health and safety regulations. And Jamaica is meeting this challenge to provide you and your clients with a quality, safe, and responsible destination. Now, in terms of hotel openings, very, very important that you know that we are staggering hotel openings based on these new health and safety protocols, because hotels are not allowed to reopen until they are fully certified in meeting all of these requirements. So since June 15th, we have had some reopenings. Now, we at the Jamaica Tourist Board want to make sure that in terms of getting that information, please check with your hotel representatives and your tour operator representatives regarding all of these announcements, especially for hotels that have not yet opened. In the meantime, the hotels that have not opened are doing many practice runs, and that is to ensure that once they open, that everything is in place. But the hotels that have opened so far have been doing an excellent job in meeting all the requirements and providing a safe and healthy atmosphere for your clients. Now, I just want you to remember, before all of this happened with regard to the COVID issue, Jamaica was really blessed with having established reputations of different types of safety. For example, quality drinking water. That was something that we used to take for granted. But Jamaica really had a proud tradition of having quality, safe drinking water, and that has not changed. Food and beverage safety in your hotels and throughout the destination was also something that was a part of Jamaica's culture. We have also been blessed with established hotel brands that have solid reputations for quality service, and this will greatly assist in this COVID era in terms of solidifying the trust factor. And as you know, for your clients who are your clients, the reason they are your clients is because of the trust factor. They trust you to give them quality, reliable, and credible information. And you, the travel professional, trust us at the Jamaica Tourist Board and Destination to provide a credible, quality, safe destination. So these are things that we will be continuing. Don't take for granted as well. Communication is going to be so important when you're going and traveling throughout the world. You're going to want to make sure that easy of communication is essential. And English is the official language in Jamaica. And as you know, it is the main language here in the United States. So it's the spoken tongue. So you're going to be going to a destination where people understand you and you understand exactly what we are saying as well. So with regards to new health and safety protocols, the government of Jamaica, because we're doing this in a phased basis under phase 1, we have created a COVID-19 resilience corridor, and it stretches all the way from Negril on the very west, right along the north coast, going all the way to Port Antonio. Now, within this corridor, 85% of Jamaica's tourism assets are within this zone. And this is a zone that visitors will be restricted to under these phase 1 openings. So far, about 18 properties have been certified in terms of openings in the island of Jamaica. So we have set the stage for you now in terms of what you have done in terms of joining us today. Jamaica Travel Protocols, charting a new course. So today we're going to systematically go through for you new entry requirement processes, main health and safety protocols, protocols at the airport, new protocols at transportation, hotels, and medical. So at this time, I'm going to hand over to my intelligent, smart, and dynamic colleague, Mr. Sean Pierre Webster, who is going to take you through step by step some of the new health and safety protocols that have been established by Destination Jamaica. Sean Pierre, over to you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Good afternoon, everybody. All right, so I hope everybody has their pens, their papers, their notepads, whatever you need to take some notes. We're going to go through this information as Chris has pointed out. We're going to go through it systematically. We're going to take it from the approach of pre-arrival to departure, and we're going to look at the information that you need to know in both an overarching way and also in some granular ways as well. All right, so good afternoon and welcome to everybody, and let's get right into it. All right, so as Chris had mentioned, the entire the entire tourist experience has been covered in what we called our COVID resilience document, and that covers everything from accommodation, attractions and beaches, transportation, shopping, social activities, and cruise ship ports. However, in this presentation today, we'll be focusing more on accommodation, attractions and beaches, and transportation. All right, so we'll look at the main factors affecting travel and the tourist experience in those three categories. All right, all the categories, however, are based or supported by these main tenets, which are sanitization, the wearing of face mask and personal protective equipment, physical distancing, the use of technology, and training, as Chris had mentioned earlier. But most importantly, consistent, clear, and frequent communication. We're going to see how technology ties in to getting your guests from the United States to Jamaica and how it affects our contact tracing. We are going to see how face masks are supposed to be worn on property and how to physical distance in certain situations on property as well. And where sanitizers and automated sanitizing machines, etc., have been placed in hotels or in any public facility, so forth. All right, rapid clear monitoring and response. We're going to look at that and how that affects the whole entire process in order to keep everyone safe and healthy. All right, so this COVID-19 situation has brought upon us the ability to look into our protocols and look into our operation and how to modify it. Now, this document that you see reflected here, we're not going to go through it in detail, but this is what this presentation comes from. It's a 119-page document that talks about health and safety protocols in Jamaica that was merged and it was developed, by the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Tourism, along with the tourism product company, which is called TPDCO in Jamaica. It covers everything from general protocols to specific protocols on the granular level, such as with water sports and housekeeping. And it also goes over some practical examples. And we will go through some of those practical examples as we go through. So let's have a look at how we're going to look at this. As I said before, and as Chris had mentioned, we're going to do everything from pre-arrival straight to the departure. So we're going to look at what happens in the arrival process, what happens through the transfer process, what happens on the property in terms of rooms, what can happen in terms of having fun in the sun, how to address food and beverage concerns, and other amenities on the resort, and what happens if somebody tests positive. All right, so we're going to look at all these factors, but as we said, since we're looking at it chronologically, let's get down to the details. So the first thing is that we want to ensure that everyone going to Jamaica has their travel authorization form. The travel authorization form can be applied for on visitjamaica.com. Again, everyone going to Jamaica as of June 15th, must seek travel authorization. This travel authorization form is a mix or a hybrid of a health questionnaire plus what is known as the C5 immigration form. So we're going to go through the steps of that and how the form looks and the process of filling the form out. So when you get to visitjamaica.com, you will then be asked if you have a travel authorization, and if you don't, when you click you don't have it, it will take you to this home screen. This home screen will then ask you a few simple questions. Do you live in Jamaica? Yes or no? For the purposes of this webinar, we're going to click no, since majority of your clients do not live in Jamaica. All right, so if we go ahead and click no, it will then take us to this page. This page is where you will uniquely identify yourself by an email address. I know when we all go shopping, sometimes we use that weird fake email address, but this is not the time to use that email address, because this email address is tied to your passport information that you will fill in later, which is also where we will be communicating with you about your health results and other things necessary. So again, the use of technology, this is how this starts as well. So ensure that you put in a valid email address that you have access to, because it will be tied to how we communicate with you while you're on island. The entire process of filling out this form will take about 5 to 7 minutes, but once you've submitted that email address, you will get an email, and it will be titled Important Confirm Your Identity, and it will have a 6-digit code. This 6-digit code is what you will input into the form to then gain access to the questions. If you are used to filling out these forms for your clients, it's not a problem. However, I do encourage you in this particular instance to please ask them, if possible, to do it for themselves. If you can't do it for yourself, for example, you have older clients or clients who may not have reliable internet access, you may want to do it with them while on the phone, because there are some personal health questions that you may not have the answers to, that you will need the answers for. So as I said, you can either select to fill out the form for yourself or for someone else. However, we do advise that you fill it out for yourself. All right, you'll then put in your first and last name, and in this gray box that you see here, you will put your date of travel. This form, if you don't know as yet, this form can only be filled out only up to 72 hours before travel. That is 3 days before travel. So if you go and you put a date, for example, September 2020, what will happen is you will get a little message that says it's too early to fill out the form, and what will happen is that you will get an email 3 days before that date that will remind you to refill the form out. The reason you can't fill the form out so early, as in during the time of purchase, is because this form also includes, as I said before, a health questionnaire, and your health status could have changed from the time of booking to the time of travel, and that is what we're also concerned about. All right, so that is why you can only do this form up to 72 hours before travel. All right. When you go ahead and fill out the form, it will fill out and ask you information about your name, your address, general information that you put on an immigration form. And as you notice, where you see right here, it says date of travel, it has already auto-populated for me. At the time I was filling this out for you guys, my date of travel was the 20th, and so that's why I've screenshotted it in for you as the 20th, so it auto-populates for you. So the information goes right through and copies through, and for the purposes of this form, we'll be only filling it out for a single traveler, which would be me. All right, so we go ahead and we put that information in, and it also will ask me here if I'm filling it out for other family members traveling with me, but as I said, we're only going to fill it out for me today. All right, so purpose of visit. Again, this is something that's usually asked on the immigration form. For this purpose, we're going to only talk about vacation. However, you do have the ability to select business or visiting friends or family. All right. We're going to input that we are staying for 7 nights and our type of accommodation. Under this option, you will have a drop down that allows you access to select between hotel, villa, or private residence. All right. In this case, we're going to select a hotel. And if you remember earlier when Chris was talking, Chris had mentioned about the COVID-19 resilient corridor. Only hotels that have been certified as COVID resilient will be listed here. So if your hotel is not listed, if you don't see that hotel listed there, it means that your hotel is not ready for opening during this period. All right, and that certification can only happen after the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Tourism, and TPDCO goes to your resort and checks for certain protocols and to see if everything implemented there is okay to keep your passengers, your clients safe and secure while on property. All right, so look out for that and check with your various hotel reps for further confirmation on that, and then it will populate the addresses for you. Again, this is how we identify if you weren't sure about how the corridor looked. It stretches from here in Negril to Montego Bay to Ocho Rios to Port Antonio, so along Jamaica's north coast. But as mentioned earlier, not every single hotel in these zones are COVID-19 certified. All right, so not every hotel that is in there, it may be open at this point in time, so go ahead and double check with your hotel reps to make sure that your hotel is open during the time of your client's travel. The South Coast, yes, it has some hotels, but it's not ready for opening just yet. They've decided to move into the second phase. All right, again, this is why we pointed out the questions earlier about being very personal. These questions will have an idea of that. So have you experienced symptoms of COVID-19? Have you tested positive for COVID-19? And this question is a little bit more of a dynamic question, because if you do answer yes to it, it will then expand itself to include other questions such as where and when you were tested and what was the result, and if you've since tested again and has your test been negative. All right, have you been in close contact with somebody who has tested positive for COVID-19 in the last 14 days, and have you been told by a healthcare professional or a public health official to self-quarantine due to potential or suspected COVID-19 exposure? These questions, even if all your answers are varied or some of your answers are yes, we understand that it won't be something to deny you altogether, because we understand that there are healthcare professionals that are traveling during this time. So because we have healthcare professionals that are traveling during this time, it doesn't mean that if you select yes for some of these answers that you will be automatically denied. You won't be. You will be just listed in what's called a high risk category, which means you can still have approval to travel to Jamaica, but you just will be in a different category. All right, so don't worry about that. We understand that. So go ahead and answer the questions honestly. All right, the next stage is just the consent form, just saying that you consent to being COVID-19 tested once you get on island, and that you will abide by the protocols stated by the government and the Tourist Board Act while on island during this time. All right. After you've completed that section in the form, you will then move to the Immigration and Customs section again. And as you see, the information is already auto-populated for me, so it will go through that. However, you have to then answer the following questions. If you're bringing any illicit drugs, foods, pharmaceuticals, just standard customs questions. So don't worry about filling out the form on enterjamaica.com. If you guys are used to doing it for your clients on enterjamaica.com, you don't have to do it there, because this completes both forms, the health questionnaire and the customs and immigrations form together. All right, so you do that there. After you've completed all the questions, you go ahead and hit submit. When you hit submit, you'll get a message like that, and will confirm that the application has been submitted. Once it's submitted, you will then get this email. All right, your application is approved. Now, if you, I encourage you to check your spam, your junk, if you don't see it in your regular inbox, because that could sometimes happen. And if you don't see that, feel free to reach out to any of your JTB reps. And we'll try to help you along that process. So after you hit submit, another rule of thumb, which would be a good tip, is to screenshot it so you have that reference number that you see on the screen right there as well, if you don't see that email, because it will help us to track that email for you. All right. When you click that link, this is what the screen it will bring you to, which will be your QR code. And this QR code is needed in order to board the flight. They will check this, they will check for this at the ticketing counter, and they will also check for it at the gate before boarding. So please ensure that your names are spelled correctly, your date of birth has been entered correctly, and also your passport ID has been entered correctly, because it is all tied together. All right, so please ensure that that information is correct so you're not denied boarding at the last minute. All right, so now that you've boarded the plane and you're on your way to Jamaica, this is what will happen once you get to Jamaica. So arriving in the Montego Bay Airport, or the Sangster International Airport, known as MBJ, you will deplane, and you will deplane from the front of the plane to the back of the plane. All right. So you will have to wear your mask throughout the airport facilities. So please be sure to have your mask ready and worn. You should be wearing it during the flight already, but that will continue throughout the airport. All right, so you will be wearing your mask throughout the airport, and then shortly after deplaning, your temperature will be checked and your documents verified. So that QR code will come in handy again. Again, I remind you, having a valid email address to send this QR code to is going to be vitally important, because you will need it throughout the process. All right, so document verification will happen. So you'll see that right before the immigration processing. And then when you get to immigration, because you've already submitted the form online, all you'll have to do is show your passport, and they will pull up the information and process you just the same. From that, you will move to luggage claim and customs. Now, in moving to luggage claim and customs, you may notice the presence of the Jamaica Defense Force, that is the JDF, or the Jamaican military. The island is currently under what's called a Disaster Preparedness Act, which means that there is just additional support from the military in certain ports of entry. All right, so please, if you have clients that are frightened by guns or the presence of men in uniform or women in uniform, please just advise them that in the airport they will see the presence of the JDF. But they're only there to help keep keep order, as there's an increased number of persons within the airport. All right, COVID-19. So from that, after collecting your luggage and going through customs, your luggage will then be taken from you again and put into a hold area while you go to do your COVID-19 test. All right, your COVID-19 tests are going to be nasally swabbed and throat swabbed tests. So, and they're outside the terminal. All right, they're outside the terminal, where if you've been to Jamaica, it's where the original dispatch bus terminal section is. That's where you'll be COVID-19 tested. So be prepared to go outside to have your COVID-19 test. All right. Children are subject to testing, but they may not be tested. All right, that will be at the discretion of the public health safety officer or the public health nurse, who will determine if children should be tested. All right, so depending on your risk factor and how you present, your children and toddlers may or may not be tested, but at this time, children are still subject to testing. All right, after you've been tested, you should be able to get your results within 24 to 48 hours. And those results will be sent to you via that email address that you sent. So again, I'm reminding you, using a valid email address is going to be of crucial importance. All right, so From there, you will then recollect your luggage, and then you will be passed on to your dispatch teams. Your dispatch teams will take you to your different resorts. And if you had a shared transfer, please note that the transfer vehicles have been refitted to accommodate for your protection. All right. So you may notice as the driver may be walled off through plastic or through plexiglass, depending on the type of vehicle, just like it is in some of the Ubers. If you've been taking Ubers during this time, you notice that, or a taxi, you notice that it's been walled off so that there is no cross contamination spread. All right. Transportation transportation vehicles have cut their capacity from, for example, 29 seaters down to 20 seats, 15 seaters down to 10 seats, and 5 seaters down to 3 seats. Where best and as best as possible, we'll try to let family travel with family only. But if not, if it's a shared transfer, please know that we will have reduced transfer capacities. So your transfer should be going out a lot faster as well. All right. So we've looked at the pre-arrival process and the arrival process plus the transfers. So we're just going to go into some quick overarching details on some of the changes that you may see on your resort. Now, once you arrive to the resort, your temperatures will be checked again and recorded by the resort staff that you see there. At this point in time, for those of you who are frequent travelers to Jamaica, you might be used to our warm embrace and our hugs and that sort of thing. However, we're not encouraging that right now. But if you do feel, and if the person welcoming you does feel obliged to do it as well, you may offer an elbow touch or a foot touch. All right. We do know that a lot of people are used to our warm Jamaican touchy-feely selves, but in this case, we're not able to be all touchy-feely, so you would have to do it like that if you so desire. All right. You'll notice that our hotel staff will be in their PPE or their face masks, depending on where they're located. And your temperatures, as I said, will be recorded as soon as you exit the bus. Some resorts will have you fill out a health questionnaire, while others will just ask you general questions. In order to get to your rooms, once you've checked in and to get to your room, you will notice that only a family will be able to ride in an elevator at a time, one family at a time. Or if you are going to another resort where the bellman usually escorts you to your room, in those cases, the bellman will escort you to the room. But when he gets to the room, he may not come into the room. All right. The bellman will stay on the outside and he will give you a description of what's available in the room, and more detailed instructions will be in the room to operate some of the amenities in the room for you. All right. Again, this is all a part of the process to help reduce contact and to manage as best as possible the environment in which your guests and or nationals have to operate. All right. Some amenities such as turn down service through housekeeping in the evening may be eliminated based on your hotel's operation. And you may find that housekeepers have reduced room capacities because housekeepers now, in order to help in contact tracing, housekeepers will now be asked to do a little bit more in the room, such as if your minibar has to be restocked, your housekeeper may also be doing that for you, instead of having a minibar stocker for the room, a housekeeper, a maintenance guy, and a houseman. So jobs have been consolidated, so to speak, in order to manage your client's protection. All right. Fun in the sun, yes, you can still go to the beach, yes, you can still enjoy the pool, and in these cases you may not need to wear a mask. You may not need, and you will not need to wear a mask in these cases, because you have the ability to physically distance, not just by maintaining it yourself, but because water sports attendants would have already separated the pool chairs or the beach chairs for you at that point. So there's already physical distancing encouraged in those areas. However, If your guests are going to go into common areas, we do ask that they do wear the masks during those areas, especially because people coming in at that point in time may not have received their health results as yet, and it's a free form area where people tend to lounge a bit, and it wouldn't have made sense to distort the furniture there. So we do ask that if you are going in a public area, that you do wear your mask there. For food and drink, in some restaurants, you will also notice that their restaurants may have reduced capacities. And if you have a large group that you're traveling with, you may not be able to sit with more than 6 persons per table. You will also notice that utensils are not going to be laid out on the tables for you. They will be taken to you pre-wrapped and all that, because it's, again, the means of limiting exposure for you and your clients. All right. You'll also notice, I know a lot of times in the travel trade, we ask for restaurants that don't have reservations. In this case, and for the period of COVID-19, you will find that some of the resort restaurants that did not previously require reservations may now allot a portion or a subset of their restaurant capacity to reservations during this time. And this is only so to facilitate that people aren't crowding up or lining up, waiting to go into a restaurant. All right. Now, will you have to wear your mask to the restaurant? Yes, you will wear your mask to the restaurant. However, once you are seated, you're able to take your mask off and go ahead and dine freely in the dining room, or whether it be a la carte service or a semi a la carte service, because of the dining setup or the dining option. All right. Gyms, daycare, business centers, those are still available as extra amenities on resorts. With the gyms, you will now find that not only the gym trainer is there, but you'll also find additional staff there wiping down equipment frequently and monitoring people entering the gym. So you'll notice that for resorts that cater to families, you will notice that a lot of the kids' activities have been moved to the outside, and that the number of children that are associated in any type of group whatsoever has also been significantly reduced. All right, so just look out for things like that. Each hotel has adapted that 119-page document uniquely to their operation. So feel free to check with your resort reps for further clarification, and also your JTB reps have an idea because they've attended all these trainings as well. So feel free to reach out to us. So now we come to the question of what happens if someone tests positive. All right, now, again, I'll repeat, we take the test at the airport and you should get the results within 24 to 48 hours. Once you get those results, you'll get those results via email. But if someone does test positive, that person will be contacted by the SPP on property. Now, the SPP is the safety point person on property. That person could have been either the nurse or the environmental health and safety officer, or any other designated person, such as a hotel manager or a resort manager. That person will then also reach out to you along with the Ministry of Health if that person tests positive, and you will be moved to an isolation room. Now, an isolation room on property is a property usually at the furthest end of the property, away from everything else. That way you don't continue the spread of COVID-19. All right, so that also brings to light what happens during the time when you're waiting for your results. For clients that are waiting for their results, we do advise you to ask them and encourage them to practice stronger social distancing during that period while they're waiting for their results. All right. So if they will still have, they will still be able to move about the property, etc. But whilst they haven't received their results, we encourage you to ask them to please maintain stronger physical distancing and just be more aware while they wait for their results. All right, so that would happen while somebody waits for their results, and if they do test positive, they will be taken to their to the hotel's isolation room. pending how that person presents, if they are, if they may be asymptomatic, or they may just have mild symptoms, they could have the possibility of staying on property. If that person is sick enough that the health officer decides to move that person off property, they will be taken to a government facility which is off property, and that government facility, if you have to go, the cost of that is covered by the Jamaican government, as is the COVID-19 test that is issued at the airport. So the costs for both the COVID-19 test and also the upkeep or the boarding of the person in the government facility is covered by the Jamaican government. However, you will be expected to pay for the administrative costs associated with that, and if you need any other extreme or forms of treatment, because primary healthcare in Jamaica is free. So that is why those expenses are covered. All right. So that is what would happen if somebody tests positive on island. Now, in order to be released to go return home, if a person tests positive, you must be able to take 2 COVID-19 tests within 48 hours, and both those results must be negative. All right, so you must test negative twice within 48 hours in order to be released back out. If you test positive, you can't go back home, unfortunately. You must remain on island, because going back home would mean that you would expose people along the way in the airport. All right, so, or during your point of travel. So it's much easier for you to stay on island within the isolated facilities. So this brings me back to another point. People may ask if their clients are uncomfortable with certain things. This is where, unfortunately, I have to be a little frank, but it is in the interest of the traveling public and also our Jamaican nationals. If you're uncomfortable with wearing a mask currently and abiding by the health protocols, it may be wise to reschedule traveling at the current moment. If you suspect you are immunocompromised and could possibly contract COVID-19 either during your trip to Jamaica or while in Jamaica, if you're fearful of that, I suggest you may consider rescheduling travel until a later time. If you are okay with all of those two, but you are not necessarily comfortable being treated in Jamaica at this point in time, or being in the hands of our healthcare system, again, I would suggest considering rescheduling travel to a later time. Jamaica's COVID-19 positive rates have been significantly low, with confirmation numbers in the single digits. Jamaica has taken very strong steps to mitigate this issue, and we want to keep it that way, to keep our nationals healthy, to keep our tourism industry sustained, and so that we're able to welcome all our travelers and who come in healthy, keep them healthy while they're there, and have them leave healthy as well. So it's very important that these protocols be abided by and understood, and that we all work together to make sure that everything goes well. So let's just work with that as best as we can. Currently, as of yesterday, if you must know, we only had 5 new cases in Jamaica, 3 of which were from the United States and 2 from Canada. So, and those clients are being isolated accordingly. So we want to make sure that we're being frank with you, we're being honest with you and transparent, but we are also going to need your help in making sure we keep these numbers down to the absolute minimum or low. All right, so if you need other documents, this summarizes the entire process for you. This is available on jtbonline.org, and it's also available through your business development managers on the Jamaica Tourist Board team. All right, so that kind of sums up everything in a whole. If you do have questions, we will be happy to take them. So at this point in time, I'm going to hand back over to Mr. Christopher Dobson.
Sean Pierre, Excellent job, excellent job. Thank you so much for that detailed information. I think you've definitely provided a fantastic service for everybody who's on this webinar today. Ladies and gentlemen, these processes that have been put into place may seem long, tedious for a vacation experience, but we're not living in normal times. We're living in very challenging times. And we want to ensure paramount number one is health security. You want to make sure that when you're sending your clients anywhere around the world, that destination takes this particular issue very, very seriously and also has an excellent track record of managing the risk and keeping our numbers low within the destination itself. As a Jamaican, I must say, I am so proud of the job that our government has been doing because we have united around this effort. We've come together. We've a combination of experts, combination of everybody in the private sector, and also people from government. And we've gotten the local population on board, and we've really making sure that we do our part to ensure that we defeat this COVID issue. So we got to be socially responsible. We got to make sure that we take every precaution necessary. We wear the masks, things of that nature. People ask me all the time, hey, Chris, what is one of the hardest things that Jamaicans have had to do? And my immediate answer is the physical distancing. Because us Jamaicans, we're very sociable people. We like to hug, we like to touch, you know, we dance close and all of that good stuff. And so that is a part that we've had to make adjustments. But as much as we have gone through today, I want you to remember that Destination Jamaica is still a special place. We have not in any way physically distanced our vibes, our spirit, the kind of facilities that we have on board in Jamaica. The hotels are still fantastic. The beaches are still great. The food is still great. The music, the spirit of the people, and all of the tourism infrastructure that was there before is even stronger today. So as I said, remember, this is phase one. So the government reserves the right to analyze how this phase is going and to make adjustments going forward. So just keep that in mind. But in the meantime, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Oral Chambers, who's going to do, we have about 10 minutes left, a quick question and answer session for all three of us. Oral,
Yeah, man.
over to you.
Yeah, man. Respect the chat line, as you can imagine, is burning up, hot like fire. So we have a few questions here. I want to, Sean Pear should take this one. If you test positive, where are the quarantine facilities? Do they have private facilities for tourists?
Yes. Okay, so we do have two facilities. There are several facilities across the island. There's one particularly in Ocho Rios in the St. Anne's Bay area, and then there's one in Montego Bay, which is in the Cornwall regional area. There are public health facilities, there are quarantine facilities that are government facilities, and there are also private facilities that are located throughout these resort regions as well. For example, in Montego Bay, there is Hospiten, that's a private facility that has a COVID-19 dedicated wing as well that you are able to utilize. However, the prices at the private facilities, I can't speak to what those prices are. However, I can speak to the government or the GOJ premises, whatever those prices are. The administrative fees are typically between the range of $35 to $45 a day in those facilities, and that is minus, you getting extreme medicines or anything like that. Granted, I don't think any of that should happen, but your general health care should be taken care of there, and you should be fine.
Thank you, sir. Well done. Mr. Dobson, this one is for you from Amity. Are these protocols going to be extended past June 30th?
So it's the first phase is between June 15 and June 30, 2020. And the government is now analyzing phase one, where they'll collect all of the data based on all of the arrivals, etc., and do a careful analysis and then make adjustments. But the government of Jamaica reserves the right to extend the same conditions under phase one going forward, because any government in the world, their first area of responsibility is the health and safety of their citizens and visitors who come to the island of Jamaica. So the government reserves the right to extend that.
Good job. Well done, sir. All right. So I also have another question. Sean Pierre, if you get quarantined, is the government covering these expenses, or who's covering these expenses?
So again, the COVID-19 test that is issued at the airport is covered by the government, and if you are admitted, if the public health official sees that it's fit to admit you to a facility, there are government facilities that you can go to, and the cost of that is covered for the most part by the Jamaican government, because primary health care in Jamaica is subsidized by the government of Jamaica. However, as a Jamaican would pay, you are also expected to pay the administrative fees of that particular facility that you are in, and that can range anywhere from $35 to $45 a day. However, in the event that you are asymptomatic, but you test, so you are positive, but you're asymptomatic, or you are positive and you have mild symptoms, if you are in your hotel and you're asked, you have the option of staying within your hotel, within their isolation wing, you will only be accommodated for the period that you have paid for. So if you only paid for 5 days, but you have to be isolated for 14 days, then you will have to pay an additional rate or seek to be quarantined elsewhere. All right. So I hope, does that answer the question for you?
Certainly does for me. Thank you, sir. Mr. Chris Dobson.
Yes.
I have a question here. Do you know by chance how many people are currently hospitalized for COVID-19 and what the capacity of beds available are?
That answer I do not have offhand, but if the person who asked the question can send me an email, I can certainly get that information to her or him.
Very, very well said. So good. Most of these.
If you want to know the active case, is it that the person wanted to know the active cases on island?
No.
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, so I had a person said, well, a client called them today and apparently they're not interested in getting a COVID test. What should he do? He wants to go to Jamaica.
If he's not interested in getting a COVID test, this is not the time to come to Jamaica. You might have to reschedule traveling. So regardless if you've taken the COVID test 1 hour before boarding your flight to Jamaica, you will be tested again once you get to Jamaica. So it's either you can do it before you go. If, for example, you work within the healthcare facilities, in the healthcare essential services, you can do it before you go just to have some peace of mind. However, it doesn't matter. You will be tested again once you get to Jamaica. So if you don't want to do the test right now, it might be best that you reschedule until the tests are no longer required.
Yeah. So we have 2 minutes left. Oral, any final questions?
Yes, I have one final burning question.
Yes.
Why is it Red Stripe tastes very good with jerk pork?
Oh, hey, let me tell you something, man. Any question that has to do with Red Stripe is a question I love to answer. So, as you know, in Jamaica, we drink Red Stripe, and this particular one I have is one of the large size. You know, we in Jamaica, we like to go large, we do things big. So when you come to Jamaica, that is where you get the real thing. And it depends on the particular day, time of day. It is best had with pork, jerk pork, during a hot afternoon. So you have the spiciness of the pork, the jerk pork, and the smoothness and coldness of the red stripe beer. And it just balances out everything. So you know have just made me very, very hungry and thirsty and want to now book a trip to Jamaica by that question. So thank you very much, Oral. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, man, I can taste it already, boy. With a working something right now. Yeah, man, but that pretty much covers it. Just reminding everyone that this is a recording. We will be able to share this with you. Just feel free to reach out to us. I'm going to be sharing our email addresses in a moment so we can share the recording with you so you can revisit some of this and answer some of the questions. I did also post a link to some FAQs, which will also be able to enlighten you a little further. But I do hope that we enlightened you as much as we can and gave you the best knowledge and product awareness that you can. So I'm going to have Chris and Champere say their goodbyes, and then we'll close out.
I just want to say thank you, everybody, for your love and support of Destination Jamaica. If you have any questions, always feel free to give me a call. I'd be more than happy to walk this through with you. If you want more detailed information to share with the rest of your team, or just have a Q&A, we'd be happy to go through that with you. So thank you for your love and support of Destination Jamaica. Big up yourselves, and we will see you on the flip side. Chris?
Yeah, man. You know, on behalf of the Jamaica Tourist Board Midwest USA team, and the Jamaica Tourist Board USA team, we really want to thank you once again, taking the time out. We hope it was worth your while to come and visit with us today to get some information. If there anything that is still remaining in terms of unanswered questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We're there for you as a resource. On the screen there, we have some online resources as well. Visit jamaica.com, jtbonline.org, and oneloveagent.com. Use those as resources as well. And we presented some facts to you today for you to analyze the facts. We hope that this frank discussion will be able to align with the travel needs of you and your clients. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that Destination Jamaica is a credible destination and that the health, safety, and security of your clients are paramount. Keep supporting us. And if it's not, it's you, the travel professional, who's going to make sure that this overall travel recovery becomes a reality. So thank you so much for your continued support, and we look forward to seeing you in Jamaica sooner rather than later. Yeah, man.
Pressures of a life and it tough. No stay down, mama time pick it up. No matter with the down full style, strictly up full vibe. And pick it up when the bills, then the rent and the mortgage due. Yeah. When the chalice, when your best friends are gone and it's only you. Yeah, like a pass, turn up the music. Skanking sweet. Everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and the rock with me. You can feel a reggae music sweet. Yeah, skanking sweet. Everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and the rock with me. You can feel a reggae music sweet. Yeah, skanking sweet. For every pain there's a melody, yeah. For every trouble there's a harmony that brings everything together. So make us sing together.